Hello friends. It's been an eventful morning. I don't know if I ever shared it. I can't recall. I think I had filmed it, but then I don't know if I ever shared the story. Not a good story, I'm afraid. As many of you are aware, I spent a really long time, years, hoping to get a good rooster. And I shared this story in a video earlier this year. Well, or actually when this video goes up it'll be last year, right? And we finally got good roosters, a couple good roosters, and two in particular. We have several good roosters, or decent roosters I should say, but two in particular I just love these roosters. One is Foghorn, my guardian, and the other Dapper Dan. Handsome, regal, gentle, wonderful rooster. Well, what I don't think I shared with you guys is that a few weeks ago we lost Dapper Dan. And that was absolutely heartbreaking. We have been having predator attacks as of late. You know, we went actually a really long time without losing a single chicken to a predator. And then all of a sudden, we lost a bunch. We lost all of our bantams that lived out in the garden, which I know I did share with you guys. Something got in there at night and just they're all gone. And then shortly after we lost the bantams, you know, our little Japanese ones that lived out in the garden, one evening just before sunset, apparently between the time it started getting dark and when we went out there to close the coop, something got in there and got both of our remaining two silkies. And it's really sad because, you know, they were bonded to Willie, and Willie is that little bitty rooster that's identical, that looks just like the one that's in the beginning of all of my videos. And he was bonded to them. He's a jerk. The only reason we still have him is because he's little. But he, you know, those three were a set. You know, when you have a flock of chickens, they actually create mini flocks within the flock, and they will have bonds with each other. And he would just wander around looking for them, and they were gone. And then just a couple weeks later, we were going out to do chores one day, and I walked around the side of the coop and stopped short because there in front of the coop was Dapper Dan. We had had another predator attack, and I looked inside the coop, and from what we could tell, looking at the scene and all of the feathers, something had come into the coop again, trying to get a hen, and Dapper Dan died trying to protect her. And he was gone. And that was absolutely devastating. It really broke our hearts that we lost Dapper Dan, because he was a good rooster. He was so gentle. You know, we could just walk over and pick him up and he would just let you. Great rooster. And now we've had another attack. I was sitting at my computer doing some writing, and Jeff came running through my office towards the door, throwing on his boots and saying something is out here, because one of our Icelandic hens just went flying through Sophie and Amos's area for the coop. So I threw my boots on, we came out, you know, ran around the side of the house, and just in time for me to see one of the other Icelandic hens also flying across the yard as fast as she could, beeline for the coop. We went around the corner of the house, we heard some rustling in the brush, and a hawk took off from the ground, landed on a branch, and then flew away. And then for the last little bit here, it's actually been flying around screeching the whole time because it was angry, because there on the ground lay our third Icelandic hen that is part of that original group. At first I thought she was dead. She was just laying there, wings all spread out, wasn't moving, and then she jumped up. And you know, I didn't have my camera or my phone or anything with me, but we scooped her up. I looked her over. We couldn't find any injuries on her body. However, there was blood on her face, and it looked like one of her eyes is injured. We can't really tell if it's intact or not. There's not a lot of blood, so we think either the hawk tried to get her and injured her face, or they were in the middle of this really thick blackberry briar bramble mess. It could be that she got a thorn to the eye. So cleaned her up. I have a cabinet in my house by the door. It's just like a little Hobby Lobby cabinet. Actually, it's the one that used to be my coffee bar years ago. And that cabinet is filled with all sorts of medicines and bandages and antibiotics and all the things that I could possibly need to treat the animals that we have here on the homestead, because, you know, frankly, you can't run to the vet every time you have to do something. Otherwise, nobody's going to be able to afford to homestead. You have to learn how to do care. It's the same reason I keep a very well stocked first aid kit. This is basically my animal first aid kit, and I had an antibiotic in there that is safe for the face, for the eyes. And so cleaned her up, put some antibiotics on her eye, and tucked her into the coop. She's hiding in there. She's actually laying in the nesting box, and the other two hens are up on the roost. They're all three just hiding in the coop, and you certainly can't blame them because they all just ran for their lives. So I don't expect them to come out anytime soon. That said, we're now missing a rooster. So I'm just kind of out here walking along the tree line in our little sort of alleyway here, seeing if I can find him. I don't know if he's hiding or if something got him, because it's unusual that he wouldn't have followed the hens to the coop. And he is a bright red rooster. His name's Yosemite Sam. Yeah, he's a bright red rooster, and so his feathers should stand out. I really hope he was just hiding and that something didn't get him, because you know, then that means that those three hens don't have a rooster to protect them, because that's the rooster's job. You know, it's not just making babies and multiplying the flock. It is their guardians. They watch the sky. They, you know, call out if there's danger. There's like a certain sound that they do, and all the other chickens will look when they hear that sound. And like in the case of Dapper Dan, they'll give their lives to protect their hens if they're a good rooster. So right here behind me, you can see Sophie and Amos's shelter, and the chicken coop is right over there by it. And that's where these Icelandics live. And these trees right in here is where they spend a lot of their day, scratching and, you know, browsing and doing all the things that chickens like to do to forage. But right in here, I am seeing a lot of very fresh coyote tracks. These are brand new tracks. So now I'm wondering, did a coyote get our rooster and then the hawk tried to get the hen? You know, unfortunately, this is part of homesteading. At times, you have to deal with predators, and sometimes it doesn't go the way you want it to. And some people are very critical, wanting to know, well, if you know you have predators, why do you let your chickens run loose? And the fact of the matter is, it does not matter how good you contain your chickens, how well you contain your chickens, how well built your chicken coop is. If you've got chickens, that is a dinner bell for everything in nature, and they are going to find a way to get in. I have seen chicken coops that are like Fort Knox. I mean, every trick and tactic for making it predator proof that you can think of, and people have still lost chickens to predators. They're going to find a way. When an animal is hungry, it is going to find a way to get to your chickens. And if I kept my chickens locked up in a coop, locked up inside a tiny little run, covered up and everything else, and I know people do this, but in my view, that's not a very good life. And, you know, in nature, there's no gentle, quiet death in nature. And people who think that, you know, these wild animals just lay down and go to sleep and don't wake up, they're very misguided, because there is no quiet death in nature. And I would much rather our chickens live a happy life out in the sunshine and scratching for bugs and doing all the happy things that chickens like to do, and run the risk of them having a life that might be cut short, than them living long and miserably. And there's lots of people out there that disagree with me, and that's fine. They're welcome to disagree with me. This isn't their homestead. This is our homestead. And, you know, we want our animals to be as happy as they can be while they live here. You know, this is the reality of having a homestead, and it doesn't matter where you live. You can have chickens in your backyard in town, and you're going to have foxes, you're going to have raccoons. If you live in the mountains, you might have bears and, you know, mountain lions. They actually are in this area, believe it or not. They have been seen. We've never gotten them on camera. They have been verified in the area. Hello friends, so it's actually been a few days since I filmed all of that, and I have some amazing news. You know, we thought that rooster was a goner, and that night Jeff, Mr. Smith, went out to the chicken coop to close up the coop, and lo and behold, the rooster had come back. I don't know where he was all day long, but he was back. Now, that said, it has been a few days since all of that happened, and apparently our chickens are traumatized, because every morning I go out there, I open up the coop, I give them their food, I check their water, and wait for them to come out. And they don't come out. It used to be that every morning the rooster would run right out, he would jump up on the little door, and he would start crowing to call all the ladies out. Well, he hasn't been doing that. I open up the door. I even started opening up the back door where we would check the eggs, the nesting box for eggs, so that they have access to see everything outside. And do you know, they will not come out. They come out and eat, and they drink water, and they all run right back inside. It has been a few days, and it's still going on. So hopefully at some point, they get over their trauma and they come back outside. But as of right now, it's been several days and they are still scared to death to come out and do all the chicken things. So they're alive. but they are scared. So I just wanted to share that update with all of you. And with that, thanks for hanging out with me here at the homestead. My name is Constance at Cosmopolitan Cornbread, and I'll talk to y'all next time.